Yes, hello and welcome everybody. It's myself, Rich Payne, and I'm joined by Fergus Ryan, and we're going to mix it up a little bit today. We're going to start with the news. Ferg, what we got?
First up, we have Rotor. Now, you and I recognise Rotor from their hydraulic group set that they brought out a few years back. Well, they are back with a 13-speed electric group set. Yeah. Now, I'm a big fan, I'm sure you are, of the wide range cassettes. It definitely makes going up the hills a lot easier, sure. But 13 speed is pretty cool.
Yes, a lot of gears, isn't it? I mean, I don't know if I haven't seen this yet, so I'm intrigued to know if it's just closer ratios or we've got a bigger, larger sprocket at the top end.
So they have a full mix. So you can run any different cassette you want. So you can run SRAM cassette, Shimano cassette. You can run their own brand of cassette. They have 2 types of 12-speed cassette and 2 types of 13-speed cassette.
In terms of ratio?
Yep, lots of different ratios. And you can also run a 10-speed cassette if you really want to lay the power down, I guess, in cross-country.
You know.
Yeah.
I like to lay it down.
The one thing that is different to the SRAM and Shimano mechs is that it doesn't have a removable battery, so you charge it sort of on the unit, and that does mean if you did run out of battery sort of midway around a ride, you would be a little bit stuck.
Spare mech kind of territory.
Yeah, spare mech kind of territory, which is, you know, not ideal, but they have introduced it with using a conventional mech hanger, which is something I know you love.
We've been very caught up in the whole UDH craze at the moment, haven't we?
And I love the UDH. I do.
Good,
don't get me wrong. I love it, but it is nice to see a little bit of a refreshing approach.
It's not the only way of doing it.
Exactly, and it's nice the fact that they've kind of accommodated everyone by using all these different cassettes. So it's really cool to see. Interesting.
I'd love to get hold of that and actually try it. Now, next up, if you're a wide-footed person, this one could be of interest to you. The new Physic Proxy wide shoe. If you're sort of a gravel enthusiast or cross-country rider, these could be the one if you've got that slightly wider foot. Now, these are a wider version or a wide version of an existing shoe with a larger toe box.
Yeah,
a larger toe box.
And did you see their crazy colourways that have come out?
Yes, I'm all for jazzy colours. Yeah, I do like that very much. Now, a nice stiff carbon sole. These are still very much kind of a racy looking type shoe in jazzy colourways, but have been given not an overhaul, but a rethink or a resize on addition to their current sizes to people with wider feet, which actually I think is actually quite difficult to come by sometimes.
I have pretty wide feet, so it's definitely something I can appreciate.
Oh, there we go, something to consider. Okay, continuing on our little sort of gravel theme, Marin's new Headland V2 is now out. Now this is an updated version of their Headland's gravel bike. A few little facts to know here. They switched to a UDH hanger, which is what we were just talking about, weren't we? We were just sort of saying, it's nice to see different companies sort of trying different things. But no, this has been updated to a UDH hanger. Now I've got a whole host of information for you, sort of, mounting points for bags left, right and centre for all those big gravel adventures. There are 3 different build kits starting from £2,499 up to £3,799. And the top of the range one's got SRAM's XPLR Access 13-speed group set.
Oh,
we're seeing more 13-speed chat. Yeah, carbon wheels and a long travel dropper on a gravel bike. If you did want to build one up yourself, though, that is a frame-only option at $16.99. Yeah, I mean, talking of sort of quite crazy frames, actually, Ferg. Go on, what have we got?
Okay, so we have Bristol brand Starling bikes. They have made their 1000th frame, and to celebrate that, they got Adam Hayes, a local artist, to make them a pretty custom one-off paint job.
Yeah.
Now, it's wild. It's pretty wild.
Wild.
They covered the frame in all the comments that they've had about the bike's design on YouTube and just across the social media over the years. And some of those are positive, some of them less so, but they've certainly leaned into it, and it's safe to say they've got a sense of humour. The frame has already been sold to one lucky customer. I certainly hope that they wrap the frame to protect it, because as much as, it's pretty wacky, it is definitely a pretty special and one-of-a-kind paint job.
Yeah, it's wild looking, but I get where he's coming from, and hey, why not call him out with a custom frame? So
speaking of special edition things, there is a new kit with Rafa and Kate Corney. It's a collaboration in honour of her winning, smashing the Leadville 100 record and also winning the gold medal at the Marathon World Championships. Kate has had a very big year, and to celebrate that, they've made a collection that supports her She Sends Foundation. So this foundation is to support women and girls getting into mountain biking, and it's really, really cool to see them do that. The kit comes in sort of t-shirts, women's jerseys, and caps as well. The caps retail at £30, the t-shirts at £60, and then both jerseys are £130. So it's all for a good cause, though. The money goes straight back into her foundation. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, nice to see sort of two cool things coming together to make even cooler things, right? And in last of our news, Orbea's new Rise is now out and about. Now, the bike itself is the same, but it's got the new RS control unit. So it's had a bit of an overhaul in terms of how this bike functions, if you like. There are two versions still available, an SL, which is 140mm travel front and rear, and an LT, which is 150 out back, 160 at the front. But it's got their new RS control system and HMI, their human machine interface, which is the remote for the dropper and going through the different modes and things like that. And actually, I wanted to find out more about it, so I caught up with Lee Williams from Orbea. All right, Lee, thank you very much for joining us in our set here in the workshop. Now, we've got the new Rise sort of behind us with the RS control system, but what is RS?
It's a good question. Well, to debunk some myths, RS is not actually a product to start out with. RS is a philosophy, so actually RS stands for Rider Synergy. And Rider Synergy is basically a philosophy, if you like. It's a philosophy that we think about in the world of e-bikes, and then how we apply that philosophy to then develop in bikes and then implementing them into our product. So it's Rider Synergy. Now, when we think about e-bikes specifically, we normally have consumers, they want more torque, they want the biggest batteries, they want the most travel. And that's fine. That's fine. We have other product that can satisfy that market, right? But the reality is a lot of consumers that don't want to be the passenger on the bike. They want to still maintain that riding feeling.
That more natural feel of a bike,
feeling like they're in control, they're more connected, a bit more synchronized, if you like, with the product. That's where the RS concept comes in, and the Rider Synergy concept, so capturing that natural experience, if you like.
Now, RS isn't brand new, is it? This has been around since sort of the birth of the Rise, and this is the sort of about the third generation, if you like, of the Rise, right?
Yeah, correct. So RS existed long before we introduced the first Rise, actually. So the whole Rider Synergy concept existed at the time when technology weren't quite there, motors are still quite bulky, batteries are still quite heavy. And the reality was a lot of that product was coming from other industries just being applied to bikes. So it wasn't actually until Shimano launched their plans internally for the EP8 that we actually stepped up and said, actually, this is product that we could work with. And we could take that sort of Rider Synergy then to the sort of next level. But yeah, it was the Rise that was the first product to do that. And I think to say that bike was a success would be a bit of an understatement, if I'm being totally honest with you. We've sold multiple models. We won awards for every generation for the product, in multiple different countries. And not just that as well. I think we've pushed the cycling industry on, in terms of other competitors, and other brands, how they're looking at their e-bikes and how they're developing their own products. And I think it's pushed the industry along. Definitely using the Rise as the sort of benchmark then, if you like.
So let's take this new Rise that we've got here. Now, this has got your new sort of HMI human machine interface on it, right? Which is the control module on the left-hand side.
Correct.
And we're sort of taking integration to a slightly new level here. Take us through what we've done there.
Yeah, so when we look at the Rise and we think about that whole RS concept, we look at 4 pillars. There's sort of 4 key areas that we look at in terms of how we can create that experience. First one is weight. The bike had to be light. We know our bike's light. We've got the lightest carbon frame we've ever had. It's stiffer than it's ever been. Handling is pretty spot on with this bike. So we felt we're quite strong in that segment. Power. We're now going up with the RS. It's gone up to the 85 Newton meters of power, so you're still getting plenty of power. Yeah. Range, we've gone bigger on the batteries. You've got 2 different options. You've got a 420 or the 630, so we're getting plenty of range with the bike. And then you've got interface, which is the next segment. Now, we felt on the previous model, there was room for improvement with that. And
when we sort of, just when we talk interface, we mean like actually how a person interacts with that bike, how they use it, right?
Exactly that, how it interacts with the bike, you know. And quite often you can look at product, certainly in the e-bike world, and how many controllers do you have on your cockpit, how many batteries do you have to charge. There's not one ecosystem, there's not one system out there where it's just one thing that does everything.
Right.
Encompassing the build as an entirety then, if you like, which is what we class as the RS control system, then, if you like. And the HMI and obviously like smart droppers and stuff are just additional features that encompass that whole RS.
All right, so let's move on to that integration then, because it's a bit of a buzzword sort of going around the industry, if you like, but you've tried to come at it from a different angle, right? So we've got various parts on this bike, integrated, all running off a single battery though, correct?
Correct.
So we've got the main bike battery. Yep. We've got the mech that runs off of that. We've got the newly designed seat post that runs off of that. Correct. And obviously the module up on the handlebars as well. Yeah,
module up on the handlebars, all integrated gears, everything coming all off that one main battery. So the entire ecosystem is all one unit that communicates with each other. Okay. Which is something you just don't see.
And this is available on the Rise at the moment.
It is.
On the the LT and the SL.
It'll be available on the LT and the SL. So there'll be two models available for the SL, which would be the M10 M Limited, and then for the LT, which is the long travel, more aggressive Rise, if you like.
This guy right here, yeah.
This guy right there. There'll be three models. It'll be M10, M Team, and M Limited as well.
Okay. And now, people might be thinking, well, more stuff integrated. I mean, I very much the idea of it running off one battery is takes a lot of, should we say, the thought process, the pressures of charging multiple things.
Exactly that.
The electronic dropper, I think, is going to be something people want to know a lot about. So how does the electronic dropper actually work?
Well, first of all, it's a smart dropper. We like to use the word smart because we're the first ones to bring actually smart features into a dropper post. This is not just an e-dropper. But it runs off light sensors. So it's
light sensors?
Yeah, so it's using what we call a TOF sensor, which is time of flight, and it basically sends light signals up and down the seat post so it can predict where it is at all times in the travel. And then obviously there's some additional features which allows us to like preset certain drop heights and things like that, so we can get a more interactive.
Because this is actually my bike in the stand, and I've got to ride it once so far. You're going to have to wait to see how that's going to go soon. But it does have, like you said, different modes where you can double tap and it will drop 20%. I think it's the preset, isn't it?
It comes out of the box as the preset is 20%.
Correct, yeah.
However, you can go on the app and you can adjust the slider to where you want it from 20 to 80%. Yeah. So either 20% from the top of its travel or 20% from the bottom of its travel. And that allows you then to always get that same position. So what that preset is going to be set so that when you use that smart feature, it's always going to drop to that same height every time. And you can have that.
And the reason you do that, I don't know, for those who may not have climbed on an e-bike before, if you actually drop the saddle a little bit, it puts a little bit more weight over the back wheel, gives you a little bit more grip, and obviously you wouldn't do that on a normal bike so much, but obviously with the addition of a motor you can get away with it. Now the other smart thing is, from what I gather, and I do need to do a little bit more reading myself, is obviously we've got a couple of different modes, so we can prime it. Yep. But we can also just use it for those who might be thinking, God, I just want my seat post to go up and down as a normal dropper, right?
Exactly that. You can still use it as a traditional. So there's going to be two options on there. You can either have traditional mode or you can have the smart mode feature. Traditional mode is going to be very dependent on same experience as what you'd get with a traditional dropper. You simply hold the button down, you decide where you want the saddle to go, you let it off, that's where it stays, right? That's a traditional dropper. Yeah. And then the smart feature has different options where you can press it once and it readies itself for dropping.
Yeah, because it took me some getting used to. You prime it, right? You prime it, open the actuator or open sort of the...
Exactly that. So you press it once, it opens the actuator, and that allows you then to, at whatever moment, put the saddle where you want, you tap it again, it'll stay. And then, as you mentioned, the double tap is a double tap, and it'll always go down to that preset feature that you've controlled and set up in the app, Nice. So it's just a couple of little experiences. It's one of those things that I feel that once you get used to riding it, you're not going to want to go back to riding anything other.
For sure. Okay, and the RS control system as a whole, currently on the Rise, are we going to see it rolled out onto any other platforms in the Orbea range?
I mean, RS is definitely a a philosophy that we will apply to other products, select products within our range. Whether we'll see it rolled out, the RS on other e-mountain bike models, I'm not sure. But certainly to capture that natural feeling at the moment, it's looking like it's just right.
Just right at the moment. Awesome. All right, Lee. Well, hey, thank you very much for joining me. Back to the show. Yeah, great catching up with Lee there about the new Rise. Quality little bike there. But it's time for the quiz, eh, bud?
Yep. So last week's question was, what is the name of Orbea's first mountain bike and when was it released?
Did you know this?
I did
Be
not.
honest.
I didn't
have a clue.
I didn't. So the answer was the Orbea Sherpa, and it was released in 1989.
Almost as old as me.
Almost as old as you. Older than me.
Oh, no. Congratulations, all the winners are on screen now. But this week's question, we talked about the new Rotor electronic group set at the start of the show. The question then, what was unusual about Rotor's previous 13-speed group set? Now, the eagle-eared amongst you may already have heard. Of course, do let us know in the comments down below.
Right, moving on to cool stuff we've seen this week, and I'm going to kick things off with definitely one of the coolest things I've seen this week. Nino Schurter coming in to see his new custom bike for his final World Cup, and it was pretty special. Yeah. So not only was it an insane colour, but Nino's been a pro for over 15 years. So that's an insane amount of time in the game, but also has been winning for that long. And it had a load of really, really cool things. He had a custom kit to go with it. His chain had his name on it. I mean, that's pretty special.
You know you're doing well then.
Yeah, exactly. And it was gold,
and
of course.
It's got GOAT written on it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But I noticed, do you know what? There's a few, apart from all the stunning kit on this, I'm just having a look at the video now. Flight attendant, Yannick the mechanic's built it up. Black box rear mech. I see you, SRAM.
Yeah, spotted.
I see ya.
Spotted.
I see ya. Yeah, so, something different going on there. But yeah, that is very cool, isn't it? Now, Owen's not here, obviously, because there's a lot less hair in the set right now. But he did want to send this over. This is from Smirnov Bikes, and it's this cool kind of 3D printed gizmo, if you like, to essentially hold a Shimano rear mech in a clutch-like position. So on a SRAM rear mech, you slide the cage forward, press the little button, kind of takes the tension off the chain, right? Well, Shimano's don't really have that, do they?
They still have a clutch, but they just have it. It's just different. They don't have the lockout option.
It takes the tension off the spring, but the chain is still taut. Does that make sense? There's less tension, essentially. Yeah. Well, this thing, you push the cage forward, you slide it on there, and it just neatly holds the bottom of the cage forward.
Which does make it easy. It does make it easy to get your wheel in and out and just do basic mechanics. So it's a pretty neat...
Nice little fix.
Yeah.
That's a hack. If we were on Dirt Show, that's a hack.
Yeah.
And then last, but by no means least, something that we did like, I kind of like, so I threw this one in it. It's a 32-inch KTM mountain bike. Now, 32-inch bikes are popping up more and more. This is their Project 64. It looks fairly finished compared to a lot of ones that we've seen. It's an aluminium XC bike, which you ain't going to see many aluminium XC bikes these days. It's got an Intend fork on it, upside down fork, Mavic wheels, Maxxis tyres. It's pretty it looks quite a finished product compared to sort of BMCs and a few others that we've seen. But I just thought that was quite cool to see.
Would you ride one?
No, not at the moment. Not
yet.
I could see it coming in gravel. I could see on certain XC things it coming into play, but things like the Leadville.
Yeah, fast.
Oh my God, that would be so fast,
Speedy.
the Leadville and stuff, right? But for XC courses, it ain't gonna be quick off the line.
I've got such short legs.
Yes,
all I'm thinking about is clearance. And...
So here's one. Isla Short's like 5'1" or something. She's tiny, little Scottish rider.
Yeah.
If her taller competitors can get on that, how does that work in terms of advantages? Do you know what I mean?
Sounds like a video.
Sounds like an experiment, doesn't it?
The 32-inch wheel versus, like you say, is it proportionate to the rider's size? Or if you could get Isla on a 32, would she experience the same benefits?
But how would that work? The frame would be so... I don't know. But who knows? I mean, I think we definitely need to get hold of a 32 proper mountain bike.
Try it out,
but
don't we?
it just looks quite cool. So yeah, nice one, KTM.
Cool. Right, next up, guys, we have a giveaway running for a super short period of time. To enter, click the link in the description below for your chance to win one of 2 Ergon bundles.
Yes, nicely done there, Ferg. We are giving away some HE2 gloves, some Valley Hole Signature GDH grips, and Valley Hole Signature downhill saddle. The competition runs only until the 3rd of October, so you're going to have to get in pretty quick. And like I said, to enter, link is in the description down below. Okay, time for the comments. Now, first up, from our downhill hottest tech video that James did in Lenzerheide, Let's Do This Please 22 says, UCI is going to need to start setting some rules for downhill tech. I really don't think ABS brakes are appropriate. This is in response to sort of Bosch having a bit of an experiment. That's as bad as an automatic shifting transmission, which I'm sure will come someday. Ferg, what are we saying?
Well, unfortunately, automatic shifting has already been here. It's been here for a little while, sort of on e-bikes and on a few downhill bikes.
It has, yeah. I think the pinions can kind of sort of do something similar, can't they? The new
smart
pinion,
shift and
smart
things like
shift. Yeah, and yeah, like you said, it's on some Shimano drivetrains and SRAM drivetrains on e-bikes as well. But ABS, that's a whole new one. We see it a lot on sort of commuter bikes and touring type bikes.
Yeah.
Not so much on any mountain bike yet, but...
Well, we did see it at the World Cup. It was interesting to see them testing at the Downhill World Cup. I do agree that I think that the testing should be probably done outside of World Cup racing, but it was really interesting to see that Magura were testing ABS at the World Cups. It was pretty cool. Would you ever try it? That's the question. Would you guys ever try it?
I'd have a go.
Yeah?
I'd like to try it for sure.
At least see what
I'd
it's
definitely
like.
to try it. Right, next up, sort of, this is a comment from Mr. Gord on mine and Adam's tech show last week. Is it the bike or the rider? And he just says, I think shonky bikes make great riding teachers. Just look at anyone with a BMX background. BMX have no shocks, tiny frames, 20-inch wheels, rim brakes, no droppers. Yet very few would argue that BMX bikes are holding those riders back. BMX riders have solid pumping, jumping and cornering skills despite their bikes. I think I should ride my BMX more often. I agree on my jump bike. I mean, yeah, I agree it does sort of teach you very good basics and being very smooth.
I think both you and I grew up riding hardtails and also still ride hardtails all winter. I think it really helps sort of underpin your core skills and you learn a lot riding those more simple. I mean, we ride dirt jump bikes purely because of, I guess, wheel size. I didn't ride BMX that much. Did you? When
I was much younger, many moons ago, I had a dabble, but it certainly does teach you sort of how to do things without using the bike to do them. Does that make sense?
I mean, James is no slouch and he rides a lot of BMX. Grew up riding BMX and he's definitely no slouch to bike. And I think, like you say, it teaches those core skills and not to rely on the bike. But I think tech does help. Like, I would never...
When you get to a point.
Yeah, I'd never, say no to having good tech because tech helps with your riding. But yeah, I agree that you should definitely learn your sort of basics on a more simple bike.
Indeed, indeed. King Squeak 1. The bike makes it easier or faster for a competent rider, but the bike will never make the rider. The first downhillers were riding fully rigid with road bike geometry. In their 70s now, they could likely outride me on a 180mm travel bike any day. I mean, look at Petey. Yeah. Petey's a great example, right? Petey's an absolute shredder. I'm not saying he's 70. I'm not saying that.
Oh, he's not going to like you for that
I'm not saying that, Steve. Not at all. But what I'm saying is Steve has come through the eras of every bike, from ropey sort of 1-inch hardtails back in the day.
Oh yeah, he rode full ridges. I mean, you remember when they used to tear down forest?
Exactly.
I could not do that now. Can you imagine us riding a race down that on those bikes now? It'd be the scariest thing ever.
Yeah, and then he's gone to early days of GT when sort of STS, LTS, Lobos were a thing. Orange bikes. Apparently that was moving forwards. And then he went Santa Cruzes and, still Santa Cruzes. So he I think that is, you are right. I think he could ride any of those bikes fast and still can. So, yeah, okay, last but no means least, Dave Gungan. I've never seen a bike complete even the first 20 meters of a downhill track without a rider. Therefore, it's 100% the rider. You can't argue with that.
Can't really argue with that. Although, mind you, okay, hear me out. That robot you've seen it.
Robot, yeah, the AI robot thing.
Hey, technically, there's no rider. I mean, it's pretty cool. I'd love to see that ride down it. Can you imagine watching that ride down a downhill track? That would be pretty cool to watch.
It's coming.
It's got to be.
Skynet's coming.
It's got to be.
Skynet's coming. Great comments, everybody. Thank you for putting those down below. As always, we do read through them, so please comment down below and we will endeavour to read them out next week. But we're nearly at the end of the show. But we've got a few things we're looking forward to now. There's a video from Owen over in the States who got to follow over with Park Tour the chance, also the process, shall we say, of a tool going from a chunk of metal.
Yep.
Chunk of metal, Ferg. And I need it as a tool. How does it happen? Well, stay tuned to find out. Ready to be worked. And we've also got some bike checks from some very fast, famous people coming up as well. Some great videos coming up on the channel. But we're done, bud.
We're done.
Yeah, thank you very much for watching, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure to do the tech show. 2 weeks in a row I've done it, Ferg.
Yeah, and don't worry, Owen and Adam will be back soon.
Yeah,
so you won't have to deal with us for too long.
Thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll see you later.